So it is summer, and what do people do in the summer? Go on vacation, which is one of my favorite topics.
Of course.
I have spent a lot of time traveling this summer, and I thought that we could go over like some cool places. And I know you've got some trips coming up, and then kind of what to do with your home, some reminders like while you're gone.
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah. So where
not to make you all jealous about the traveling or anything.
Yeah, where is your upcoming trip?
I'm going to St. Martin.
Oh, and it's a place that you go quite frequently, right?
I go not necessarily every year, but I try to if I can.
So what do you love about St. Martin?
It's international because it's actually two different countries. It's French on one side and Dutch on the other. So it's international. It does still require a passport to go there. But it's still small, like the island of Maui. So that reminds me of when I went to Maui, that it's not too big. You can go there, you can see all the things and do all the things, and you still haven't seen it all, so you keep going back, and then you find all the things that you love about it, and you keep going back for more things, right? But it's really easy access. It's a short flight considering, if you fly out of Charlotte or something like that, it's relatively short. I can leave in the morning, and I can be at the beach in the afternoon. That's my favorite.
Yeah.
I love when that can happen.
Yeah, that's cool.
So.
Okay. So I have a trip coming up to St. John in the Virgin Islands, which is pretty close to St. Martin.
Yep.
And I just love the laid backness and just the pretty nature part of that island. It is 85% national park. So, people, if they're trying to visit all of the national parks in the United States, like that's one of them that you need to hit. It is the U.S. Virgin Islands, so you do not need a passport to go there.
There you go.
And that island does not have an airport, so you actually have to fly into St. Thomas and then take the ferry over to St. John.
Interesting. How's the ferry ride?
It's like 20 minutes.
Okay.
And that area is like the one thing that I love about it is you can swim out as far as you want and see straight down. And there's so much wildlife. Yeah. Like I love sea turtles, and I'll go out and swim with turtles like all day long and just float above them and take pictures, and they come up and they'll come up right to you. I don't touch them. I don't want to disturb them.
Right.
But I just love the wildlife that you are exposed to. I saw a spotted eagle ray last time I was there.
Nice.
And it came up right to me and then flipped around and swam away. And I've got like great pictures of it. And then there's also, good seafood and like the nightlife. And so St. John is one of my favorite places to go. And so that area, St. Thomas, St. John, has made a bunch of news because Jeffrey Epstein's island was right by it. However, that has been bought by somebody else, and it now is being turned into a resort.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, good.
Yep. So I feel like people, if they are traveling, they kind of do one of like three different things, maybe four different things. They either go on a cruise, or they do a theme park, or they do an all-inclusive, or they do some kind of I put it together trip, like a beach. I rent a house on Airbnb and I go do the beach, or I go to Colorado and I'm going in the mountains, for a week, and I stay in a tent, or, whatever you're going to do.
Right.
And that's not really my thing. I kind of fall in the other three categories. So I also just went on a cruise, and for the price, I feel like cruises are the way to go now.
Now, was that your adult only cruise or?
Yeah.
So tell me about that.
Yeah, so I went, it was a 8-day Carnival cruise. And so Carnival has probably the best rooms on any ship that I found. And they're called Havana rooms. And you basically pay for a balcony or an interior cabin price, but you get a private deck with a pool or a hot tub.
Nice.
And a bar. So only the Havana people can go to this deck. So you don't have to deal with like the main deck and the Lido and whatever. There's an age limit. You have to be 12 years old and above to be in these rooms, period. But, we got an entire 8-day cruise down to Aruba. And this is like all of the food included, the room, everything except for gratuity. It was like $1,800.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so they're affordable.
Yeah.
And there are extras that you can buy, like the drink package, and you can buy the restaurants where, the steakhouse or the seafood place, or, any of those. The hibachi place is really fun. which can add to the price of your cruise. But if you are on a budget, and especially like, you know, millennials that have student loans and whatever, if they want to go on a vacation and they say, I've got, you know, $2,000, put me in a week,
Yeah,
you
somewhere.
know, for this,
Find me a place.
and know that I'm not going to have to shell out for extra for food and for gas and, you know, all of that stuff. I think cruises are the way to go right now.
Yeah.
And the cruise lines have got a lot of new ships coming out that are beautiful. You know, they do have the older ships that are being reimagined or being refurbished to add in those newer amenities. So I just think, you know, cruising is the way to go.
Cool.
Yeah, you also have theme parks.
Yeah.
So right now, Universal Orlando just opened a theme park in Orlando called Epic Universe. And when I say, like, they brought the game to this theme park, like, it has 5 different worlds in it, or portals. The 4 main ones is Harry Potter. So this is now the 3rd Harry Potter park associated with Universal in Orlando. They have How to Train Your Dragon. They have Nintendo World, and then Dark Universe, which is like Dracula and Frankenstein and all of the, you know, old school monsters.
Okay.
Yeah. And then in the main is Celestial Park, which is, they have this really cool, like merry-go-round, where you're on like some kind of magical creature, and it's not connected, but it still goes up high. And
Oh, wow.
yeah, and they have a big light show, and then they have a hotel that's brand new that overlooks the entire park, so you can just go down to the lobby and then go right in.
That's cool.
Yeah, and my kids absolutely loved the How to Train Your Dragon part of the theme park, and Nintendo World really looks like you are in the game, the video game, especially on a nice day where the clouds and where it's blue sky and clouds. You're like, am I inside, or is this, you know, real? And it's actually affordable too, where you can buy, you know, the
passes, or
the pass, and you can get the fast pass and all of that. And it's, again, another vacation where, you know, if you want to go on your vacation, like, definitely theme parks are the way to go. Of course, you know, their neighbor, Disney, is constantly updating. I know Test Track is about to completely be reimagined and open later in July. And they have like the dining plan, so you could potentially buy, you know, and prepay for your entire vacation with them as well.
Yeah.
And then over in West Coast, you have Legoland, like in San Diego, and SeaWorld over there, and then you have Disneyland and Universal Hollywood out there. So, you know, depending upon which
where you go, what
coast
part of
you're
the,
closer to,
right?
yeah. And then in Ohio, we have Kings Island and Cedar Fair, and up in
Cedar Point.
What is that, Cuyahoga County?
Yep.
Area, Sandusky.
Yeah.
So, you know, you don't have to go down to the beach or to where it's super hot to enjoy those theme parks as well.
Just depends on what you like.
Yeah.
Right?
And then you also have all-inclusives that are everywhere. There's not so many in the United States. I think there's one in the Keys, but, you know, if you want to go into the Caribbean and you really want that island life, you can do the all-inclusive, and that includes your meals and your drinks and your stay, and you get there and then you don't have to leave the resort. Those are popular in like Cancun and Mexico and things like that. So, you know, there's people traveling. So while you're traveling this summer, what should you remember about your house?
Well, I would always encourage you to make sure that you do a mail hold on your forwarding your mail or holding it at the post office, so that you don't have any mail service coming to your mailbox while you're gone. That's especially helpful if people are easily able to get into your mailbox, they see that it's overflowing or anything like that. Yes, you can ask your neighbors or family to come and pick it up, but it's just easier. It doesn't cost you anything for the post office to hold it, so that's one of my tricks. I always do a mail hold. I don't want to deal with it until I get back anyway, so that way it's all coming. The next day when I come into the office, then it's all delivered.
Yeah.
And then I do light timers and things like that. Again, another safety feature is that you just want to continue to look like some activity is going on at the home. If it's going to be truly vacant, then alternate lighting devices and timers so that they will play off of each other, and it will randomize it instead of the same light always at the same time.
Yeah.
Right? And you've got smart devices probably in your home.
Yeah, I think even Alexa will turn stuff on.
You can do that, and you can set programs for it, and you can have TV come on, or you can have the radio come on for a period of time, music or anything like that, just so it sounds like there's some activity or anything like that. And then the other option is to have somebody stop by and make sure everything's good.
Yeah. And then cameras in your house.
Yeah.
So you can always just check in.
Kind of look on your phone and monitor it and say, oh, yeah, there's a delivery. Okay, can you go by and pick it up? And
Yeah.
it's all good.
And so say you don't have any family members, the police stations, police officers will do a random drive-by and just check to make sure the property's good.
They're not going to get your mail. They're not going to pick up your packages, but they will at least keep an eye on it, and they're very good about that. So if you are going to be gone, it's especially in a neighborhood that you're worried about, make sure they stop by and just check it out and make sure everything is still sealed up the way it needs to be. They don't just drive by. They're going to check it and make sure everything looks like it's, as it was when you left.
Yeah. So I think those are some good safety tips for your vacation, because there's a record number of people that are going to be traveling over 4th of July. Like 72.5 million are going to be flying. So, all of the other people that are driving on top of that, there's a lot of movement coming up.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot of people.
Yeah.
I know it's a busy time of the year. And my time when I leave is almost always the 4th of July weekend. I just time that to where it works out, which is not necessarily because I'm going anywhere for that holiday, because they don't celebrate that over there.
Yeah.
But I do get caught in that traffic sometimes if it's too much coinciding.
Yeah. And I think people will kind of back up to those holidays because that's a free day off work, and then you don't have to burn so many vacation days.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people are traveling between now and the end of summer, even continuing into the fall, because then you have people that aren't restricted by some kind of school starting, and they can get cheaper rates.
Yeah.
And as soon as school starts back, there's a lot of discounted deals out there on travel right now.
That's my favorite time to really make something happen, like go see someplace new, is when you aren't going to be thrown in there with all of the other tourists, and you can get some deals and everything. So speaking of deals and all of that, you've got all the information on that. Like, you can hook up our people, right?
Yeah, so if you need a travel agent, yes, we are still around, and we are free to use. We're paid by wherever you go. It's already built into the price. You can get on MapDotTravels.com, and I can help you plan your next trip.
Awesome. Cool. Thanks for joining us today on the Realty Podcast. If you enjoyed the knowledge and entertainment today, please subscribe and share with your friends. We will be embarking on a journey that bridges the gap between realtors and clients, uncovering the heart and tea of real estate.